Namaskaram and a very warm welcome to all our UPSC aspirants tuning into today's Rungta IAS Academy Explainer capsule. I'm Professor Sharma and I'm thrilled to have Professor Rao joining me today. We're going to be breaking down a highly probable topic for your GS Paper 2 International Relations segment, which is the strategic spark in India and South Korea's defense alliance.
Exactly right, Professor Sharma. To help you structure that perfect 15-marker mains answer, our blueprint today covers the bilateral context, how we're expanding defense cooperation, the broader Indo-Pacific geopolitics, Seoul's demographic challenges, and finally, strategic convergence. Let's dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1, the bilateral context.
So you might be wondering, why is this a current affairs priority right now? Well, it's driven by these back-to-back, reciprocal high-level visits. We've got the South Korean president visiting India in April 2026, swiftly followed by our own defense minister heading to Seoul in May. This crucial chronological context is exactly what's driving this new strategic spark. Moving right along to Section 2, expanding defense cooperation. Students, you really need to note this down. We are no longer just a buyer in this relationship. We're aggressively moving towards co-production. Beyond our flagship K9 Vajra under the Make in India initiative, we're now collaborating on advanced submarines with Hanwha Ocean using lithium-ion and AIP technology. In aerospace, there are serious talks about the KF-21 fighter and the FA-50 light combat aircraft. On the maritime front, we're looking at destroyers and smart shipyards, plus emerging tech like light tanks and future-ready combat vehicles. This shift towards deep domestic manufacturing and technology transfer is absolutely profound. And Professor Rao, if they want to fetch those extra marks, they need to use the right keywords. A high-yield term for your notes is KindX. That's the proposed Korea-India Defense Accelerator. Mentioning this shows the examiner you understand the evolution here. It's not just about conventional weapons anymore. It's about building a modern, innovation-driven ecosystem linking startups, universities, and investors. Spot on. But remember, as UPSC aspirants, you have to provide critical analysis. Look at this observation. It would be a serious strategic miscalculation for both countries to confine this partnership solely to defense industrial domains. Dropping a weighty quote like this completely elevates your answer from a simple list of facts to the nuanced evaluation the examiner expects. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the Indo-Pacific geopolitics. You see, to truly secure our interests, we must move toward an institutionalized, forward-looking defense roadmap. The partnership simply has to address the emerging security threats across the wider Indo-Pacific region. It can't just remain a transactional or strictly industrial relationship. That's a great point, Professor Sharma. The traditional focus was purely on manufacturing, but look at the changing threat matrix. The emerging geopolitical focus must account for broader Indo-Pacific resilience, especially considering China's growing naval assertiveness around the Korean Peninsula and the South China Sea. And of course, the expanding Russia-North Korea military ties are rapidly reshaping the security architecture in Northeast Asia. All of this makes a multidimensional partnership with India absolutely crucial for Seoul. Let's look at a critical internal vulnerability in Section 4, Seoul's demographic challenges. South Korea is facing a very severe structural challenge right now. They have a sharply declining demographic profile, which means a shrinking pool of military recruits. This directly weakens their long-term conventional defense posture. Think about it analytically. If India is going to invest heavily in a strategic partnership, these internal vulnerabilities in Seoul require our urgent policy attention. I couldn't agree more, Professor Rao. In fact, let me pose a direct mock personality test question to all of you tuning in right now. Imagine you're sitting before the UPSC interview board, and they ask you, if India seeks substantially expanded defense industrial cooperation with South Korea, how must we address their internal security vulnerabilities? You need to confidently articulate that strengthening South Korea's ability to handle its internal and regional challenges is literally central to protecting India's own long-term Indo-Pacific resilience. It's all connected. Let's tie this all together in our final section, strategic convergence and conclusion. For your mains conclusion paragraphs, here is your definitive blueprint. First, acknowledge that our defense partnership inherently depends on Seoul's internal stability. Second, state the need for an institutionalized, forward-looking roadmap. Third, emphasize moving decisively beyond mere industrial ties. And finally, anchor the entire relationship in shared Indo-Pacific security interests. As you wrap up your revisions today, leave yourselves with this provocative thought. What specific diplomatic steps should India take next month to solidify this roadmap? Keep studying hard, and we'll catch you in the next Explainer capsule.